Hello, hello. Welcome to Just Jenna. You have no idea how excited I am that you're here. I'll be sharing the wisdom, questions, and curious little truths I've gathered along the way. From brilliant thinkers to weird memes, from ancient texts to the knowing of nature. Some of what I've learned came from books, some from breakdowns, some from simply paying attention, and some from fumbling through it myself. My hope is that these stories expand you the way that they've expanded me. So maybe, just maybe, you don't have to trip over the same parts of life I did. And if you do trip and fall, it's okay. I won't tell anyone. Hello, my little chickens and chickadees and baby bears and kitty patooties and yabba dabba dingers. You guys, I had an epiphany. I had a revelation I need to tell you because I think I cracked some type of code here in terms of living the most fabulous, wonderful, growth-filled, successful life, and I need to tell you about it because I don't want to be sitting on an island alone over here, okay? I want everyone to know about this, especially anyone that listens to Just Jenna, because are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? You all must be so sweet. So I had an incredible breakthrough this week. It's taken me 4 years to understand this, moving across multiple state lines, continents. So much money was spent, but I do believe that I finally understand a secret of life. You're not broken. You're planted in the wrong conditions. Imagine you're the flower, the environment is the soil, the people in your life are the gardeners, timing is the season. Follow me here, people. Most of us spend years and years blaming the flower for what was actually wrong with the soil. We blame ourselves. Everyone is always blaming themselves. Everyone I meet is constantly just so self-critical. The flower spends years blaming itself for not growing, when in reality, there could be something wrong with the soil. Perhaps there's lack of gardeners. Or maybe the flower was planted during the winter. If you feel stuck in your life right now, if you feel behind or unmotivated or confused, your problem might not be you. I'm assuming if you're the type of person that's listening to this, the problem really probably isn't you. There are some people where the problem, it's them. You're the problem, okay? But most people that are on this journey, I'm like, the problem isn't you, babe. It's probably the conditions. And I didn't understand this until recently, but once I did, it changed the entire way I see my life. And let me tell you the story. I'm going to start with the metaphor that made me realize all of this. Picture this. A flower does not bloom because it tries harder. A flower does not wilt because it lacks discipline. A flower in winter that doesn't bloom doesn't think it's a failure. A flower blooms when 3 things line up: the right soil, the right gardeners, the right season, and that's it. So ask yourself, and I really want you to think about this. Where in your life have you been blaming the flower when the actual problem is the soil, the gardeners, or the season? Okay? I promise this will all make sense. Keep following me, people, because I'm going to share with you my story. Maybe you'll see part of yourself in my story. Maybe you won't. I don't know. We're about to find out. The first time I ever experienced real expansion was when I moved to Denmark. I did not know it then, but for the first time in my life, the soil and the gardeners lined up. That environment brought something alive in me. The people there watered that part of me that was expressed, that came alive in that environment. And the combination cracked something open for me. I felt like a completely different version of myself, one that I did not even know existed. But I completely misunderstood why it happened. I looked at the whole experience and I said, oh, it's the city. It must be the city. That's the secret. Because prior to that, I'd never lived in a city before. And so my little logic, reptilian brain said A equals B. Or 2 plus 2 equals 4, should I say. This is what us human beings do when we don't understand the pattern. We assign the wrong cause to the right effect. I had the right effect. There was this part of me that was expressed. There was this version of Jenna that I loved. I was so excited to meet her, but I assigned the wrong cause. I said, oh, it's the city. It's the city. It's the energy of a city. And so obviously life happens, timing timed, things came and went. It was like a couple of, back intimate details. We don't need to get into it. So after that season of my life, I was in another rock bottom, if you will. Okay. And so I was like, I need to move to Chicago. I must move to Chicago because I must move to a city. I need to move to a city immediately because when I move to a city, that part of Jenna will be expressed again. That part of Jenna will be alive. She will love it. Like, I need to go do this thing because, again, I was assigning this expression, this growth I was feeling to being in a city. So I moved to Chicago for a year. Chicago did not work. It was not for me. On paper, it made no sense to me because I was like, same city energy, the same structure, the same lifestyle, same openness, like same vibes, but I wasn't thriving. And because I still didn't understand the metaphor yet, I blamed the flower, I blamed myself. I must not fit here. What's wrong with me? Why didn't this work? But the truth was simple. The soil wasn't right, and I had no gardeners. Environment alone was not the answer, and I did not know that yet. Trust me, I did not know that yet. So I moved back in to my parents' home, moved back to Michigan. And I was still convinced that environment was the entire equation. I've been miserable in the cold my entire life. Chicago winters were brutal. It was physically hard to just exist there, living without a car, going to work. It was hard. Wow. Wow. But I've been living in the cold my entire life. And I've always hated it. So my logic then became Denmark worked because it was the right environment. Chicago didn't work because it was the wrong environment. So I followed the same pattern. And so I followed the sun. I followed the warmth. I followed the one thing I love more than anything in this entire world, and that is walking. Being outside, being able to go on walks. When I can't go outside and go on walks, I am miserable. I am not even an ounce of Jenna. I'm not an ounce of who I am. And that led me to California. When I got to California, the environment was immediately better. It was immediately better, okay? It helped. It helped me so much, but it wasn't the breakthrough. I'll get to the breakthrough. The real breakthrough happened a few months after I moved here. And Jackson, he casually asked me one day, where's your favorite place you've ever lived? You lived so many places. Where's your favorite place? And I was like, here. And what came out of my mouth next, it didn't shock me. Matter of fact, it was so goddamn simple and in my face that I was like, of course. I realized the reason I picked here, the reason why here has been the best place I've ever lived is because of the community that I have here. Because I realized if I were to live with the family that I live with in California, if I lived with them in Chicago, Chicago would have been a completely different experience. Denmark worked because it was the right soil and the right gardeners. Chicago failed because it was the wrong soil and no gardeners. California works because it's both. Environment determines possibility. Community determines endurance. And for the first time in my life, I finally understood the first two ingredients. And then, you guys, there's a third ingredient that I need to share with you, because I think there's three things that need to line up for growth and success. Now, this one, it's still new to me. I just had this eureka moment a couple days ago on a walk. Classic. So I'm reading Robert Greene. I'm reading The Laws of Human Nature. I'm listening to Tony Robbins. Just know that's the soundtrack to my current reality, okay? And I was thinking about pattern recognition and thinking about nature and thinking about cycles, and suddenly I realized you can have the right soil, you can have the right gardeners, but if you plant in winter, nothing blooms. It's not because you failed, it's not because you're behind, it's not because your dream is wrong, it's because it's not the right season. And it was this missing piece. And this completed the code. This is what I'm now realizing. Because here's what I finally understand. Success equals the right environment plus the right people plus the right timing. Think about this in metaphor form. The right soil plus the right gardeners plus the right season equals growth. When those three things line up, growth becomes effortless, baby. It's natural. It's inevitable. And when even one is missing, you struggle, doubt yourself, lose energy. You feel stuck, not because you're failing, but because the conditions are wrong. You're not behind, you're not broken, you're not unmotivated. You're just planted somewhere you can't grow yet. And I've realized this about myself. Make the most of the natural timing that you're in. Make the most of the season that you're in. Surround yourself with people that will water you, that will water your ideas. Be in an environment that you physically thrive in. I'm saying your body enjoys. I physically love being in the sun. Like, take my brain, take the logic out of it. Something happens to me when I'm out in the sun, when I'm out on a walk. Put myself in a better environment, boom. Surrounded by people that are idea people, they're generous, they're loving, they're expanding my entire worldview, they're kind, caring, compassionate, want me to succeed, they want the flower to grow. They're doing everything they can to help this flower grow. They want to see it grow. A lot of people don't want to see other flowers grow. Don't forget that. Like, seriously, these people want this flower to grow. They want me to grow. Timing. If you have an idea, if you have a goal, if you have a dream, timing is everything. Timing is everything. Don't give up on your dream if it hasn't been actualized yet. There's a good chance it just wasn't the right timing. Don't give up. Where in your life are you blaming the flower? Is there something wrong with the soil, with the gardeners, or the season? Always start with yourself. Get real honest, real caring, real compassionate, and real graceful. Is there something wrong with the flower? Is there something that you're not being honest about with yourself? Are you running away from something? Or have you done the work? Have you done so much internal reflection and work, and you have been on this hero's journey, and you're like, no, Jenna, I have done so much work on myself. Well, look at the soil. Look at your environment. I also think environment oftentimes really marry well with community, because oftentimes where you kind of want to go, where your soul is telling you to go, where your body wants to go, that environment, I bet there's community there for you. Maybe not. Sometimes it happens. But go where you want to go. Make a choice, make a decision, make a move. Oh my God. Stop. If you want to go somewhere, go somewhere. Then open yourself up to community, which means if you want to be a part of a village, you have to be a villager. You can't expect everyone to do all these things for you. You have to show up for your friends. You have to show up for your community. You have to do things you don't really want to do. You need to be a good friend. Be a good partner. Be a good neighbor. Be kind to strangers. Show up for your community. Don't just expect to receive from your community. You need to give to your community as well. That creates relationship, reciprocity, energy's flowing back and forth. That's what creates real connection. Then the timing. Timing is everything. Timing is out of your hands. That's up to fucking God, baby. But I genuinely believe that if you stay true to yourself, continue to follow what lights you up. I'm so serious when I say stay true to yourself, stay honest with yourself, stay honest in general. The timing will be revealed. Make the most of the timing of what we're in. Look around. What's going on, you guys? Look around. What's happening? We're living in a historical moment. There are things happening right now that we're living in. If you feel crazy, good. If you feel normal, there's something wrong, because we're living in this huge historical moment of the look at our economy, look at politics, look at innovations and inventions and change and all these things that are happening. So much of the way that these old structures, we used to rely on these old structures to produce these results, they're all crumbling around us. We're seeing it. We're seeing it happen. So make the most of the chaos. Make the most of it. Create something new. Be the cause, not the effect. Once you start understanding your own patterns, once you start understanding the patterns of people around you, once you start understanding the patterns of history, you'll stop forcing growth and you'll start creating the conditions that make blooming inevitable. And that is the code, and that is the season I am stepping into. And I hope you all are stepping into your own season. You can create whatever season you want. You don't need to actually follow. You can do whatever you want. This whole thing, everything is made up. Everything is made up, but pattern recognition is your deepest skill set. Look around. Look at what you've been doing. What's working, what's not working. What are you attributing success to when actually it was maybe something else? I don't know. Are you open to being wrong? Are you open to being wrong? Be open to being wrong. Be open to having a beginner's mind. If anyone tells you they know what's going on, even me, everything I just said to you, there's a good chance I'm wrong. There's a good chance I'm wrong. Use your discernment. Your discernment is your superpower. And I just want everyone to just lean in. Lean in. Lean in. Make a move. Make a change. Take a risk. Take a change. And fade out. Or something like that. Okay, you guys, I feel like I got very serious. But I am, I'm sincere. I hope you know I'm just sincere. I'm sincere about all of this. Remember that you're just not broken. It's impossible. If you were broken, you wouldn't have been born. There's something so inherently perfect about you. That's why you're born. Okay? I love you, little chickens, and I will see you